Now today we are going to start with chapter number 2, Barty and the Lion. ठीक है? One morning, a week or so later, Barry was woken by a course of urgent knocking. He jumped out of his bed and ran to the window. A herd of zebra was scratching away from the water hole, chased by a couple of hyenas. Then he saw more hyenas, 3 of them standing stock still, nose pointing, eyes fixed on the water hole. ठीक है, वन मॉर्निंग बैठी थी, वो जैसे उठती है तो वो एक अर्जन नहीं की आवाज़ सुनती है. ठीक है, ही जम्प्ड आउट ऑफ हिज बेड एंड रन. जैसे वो जंप करती है वो अपने विंडो पे जाती है तो देखती है कि जैब्राज, बहुत सारे हर्ड ऑफ जैब्राज आ रहा है. ठीक है, एंड देन ही सॉ मोर हाइनास. 3 of them क्या होते हैं, स्टैंडिंग के पॉइंटिंग नोज थी, वो खड़े होकर देख रहे. इट वॉज ओनली नाउ दैट बर्टी सॉ द लॉयन कव, but this one was not white at all. He was covered in mud with his back to the water hole, and he was waving a pathetic paw at the hyenas. They were begging to circle. The lion cub had nowhere to run to, and the hyenas were sliding very closer. ठीक है, वो भाग नहीं पा रहा था और जो हाइना है वो उसके पास आ रही थी. Bertie was downstairs in a flash, leaping off in veranda and racing barefoot across the compound, shouting at the top of his voice. He threw the open gate and charged down the hill towards the water hole, yelling and screaming and waving his arms like a white thing. ठीक है, वो भागी भागी आती है उसे बचाने के लिए. वो डोर जो होती है उसको ही फेंक देती है. ठीक है, और चिल्लाती है इन द टॉप ऑफ द वॉइस कि ही थ्रू एन ओपन गेट. ठीक है, और कहती है वाटर, yelling and screaming, waving his arms like white thing. Startled at his sudden instruction, the hyena turned tail and ran, but not far. Once within the range, Bertie hurled a broadside of pebbles at them, and they ran off again, but again not far. वो पत्थर मारती है उन पर, वो भाग जाते हैं. ज़्यादा दूर नहीं, लेकिन हाँ थोड़ी दूर चले जाते हैं. Then he was at the waterfall between the lion cub and hyena, shooting at them to go away. They did not. They shoot and watched, uncertain for a while. They began to circle again, closer and closer. वो दोबारा से उसके आसपास सर्कल कर लेते हैं. ठीक है. That was when the shot rang out. The hyena bolted in the long grass and were gone. Then Barty turned around. He saw his mother in her nightgown, rifle in hand, running towards him down the hill. तो फिर वो अपनी मदर को देखता है कि वो गन लेके हिल की तरफ भागी भी जाती है और जो हाइना होती है वो ग्रास के पीछे दुपक जाती है. He had never seen her run before. Between them they gathered up the mud-matted cub and brought him home. ठीक है, वो जिससे पहले उसको मारते उसको घर लेके खा जाते हैं. He was too weak to struggle, though he tried. As soon as they had given him some warm milk, they dunked him to the bath to wash him. ठीक है, उसको warm milk देते हैं, फिर वो गंदा तो था ही, इसको फिर wash करवाते हैं. As the first of the mud came off, Bestie saw he was white underneath. और वो कैसा था? White था. You see, he cried triumphantly, he is white. He is, I told you, didn't I? He is my white lion. His mother still could not bring herself to believe it. 5 baths later, she had. वो बिलीव ही नहीं कर पाई. जब उसको 5 बार नहला दिया था उसके बाद उसने बिलीव कर. They set him down by a straw in washing basket and fed him again all the milk he could drink, and he drank a lot. Then he lay down and slept. He was still asleep when Bertie's father got back at lunchtime. They told him how it had all happened. उसका father lunch करने आता है. ठीक है, वो तो सो रहा होता है कब, और वो सारी स्टोरी बताता है कि कैसे हुआ था. Please, father, I want to keep him, Rusty said. And so do I, said his mother. We both do. And she spoke as Bertie had never heard her speak before. Her voice was strong and determined. ठीक है, अपने फादर से कहते कि मुझे रखना. उसकी मदर भी चाहती थी. ठीक है, उसके फादर ने उसकी ऐसी वॉइस कभी नहीं सुनी थी. Bertie's father did not seem to know quite how to reply. He just said, we will talk about it later. And then he walked out. बस वो इतना कह गई कि हम इसके बारे में बाद में बात करेंगे, और वहाँ से चला जाता है. Then he did talk about it later when Rusty was supposed to be in the bed. He has not, though he heard him arguing. He was outside sitting room door, watching, listening. His father was packing up and down. और उसके जो फादर थे वो पेसिंग कर रहे थे अप एंड डाउन, और वो आर्ग्यूइंग चल रही थी उनकी. We all grow up, you know, he was saying. You cannot keep a grown lion, you know that. कि हम सब grown up हैं, आप सब जानते हैं कि हम ऐसे lion को अपने घर में नहीं रख सकते. And you know, we cannot just throw him to the hyenas, replied Barty's mother. He needs us, and maybe we need him he will be someone for Bertie to play with for a while. And then he added sadly, after all, it's not as he's going to have any brother and sister, isn't it? ये इससे खेल रही, इसके पास कोई ब्रदर और सिस्टर भी नहीं है, isn't it? वो ऐसे बोलती है और वो कहते हैं क्या हम इसे हाइना के पास फेंक दें ऐसे, वो उसे मार देंगे. At this, Bertie's father went over to her and kissed her gently on her forehead. It was only time Bertie had ever seen him kiss her. ठीक है, पहली बार से अपनी बेटी को किस करा था. All right, then he said, all right, you can keep your lion. So the white lion cub came to live among them in a farmhouse. He slept at the end of the Bertie's bed. Whenever Bertie went, the lion went even to the bathroom, where he would watch Barry have his bath and lick his leg dry after. They were never apart. It was Bertie who saw to the feeding milk 4 times a day, and one of his father's beer bottles, until later on when the lion cub lapped from a soup bowl. There was impala meat whenever he wanted. ठीक है, वो उसको 4 times मिल्क देती थी. ठीक है, और वो जब फादर की उसकी बियर की बॉटल होती थी जिसको वो भी देती थी. ठीक है, और एक जब सूप ऑफ बाउल में सूप देती थी, और जब उसको किसका impala का मीट चाहिए होता वो उसको वो भी देती थी. And as he grew fast, he wanted more and more of it. जैसे वो बड़ा होता था तो उसको और ज़्यादा चाहिए होता था. For the first time in his life, Barry was totally happy. The lion cub was all the brothers and sisters he could ever want, all the friends he could ever need. The two of them would sit side by side on the sofa out of the veranda and watch the great red sun go down over Africa. And Bertie would read him Peter and the Wolf, and the ant would always promise him that he would never let him go off to zoo and live behind bars like Wolf in the story. And the lion cub would look at the berries with the trusting amber eyes. ठीक है, उसके साथ सोफे में बैठता था. ठीक है, आराम से दोनों, फिर वो दोनों जो सनलाइट को, जो सन लाइट आती थी अफ्रीका की, उसको वॉच करते थे. और जब वो उसको वुल्फ, पीटर एंड द वुल्फ की स्टोरी सुना रही थी तो वो उसको ऐसे ऐसे आराम से देखता रहता है. वो नहीं चाहता था कि वो जैसे वुल्फ जंगल में रहती थी वो उसको भी वहाँ भेज दे. Why don't you give him a name? His mother asked one day. Because he does not need one, replied Bertie. He is lion, not a person. Lion do not need name. कि वो lion है, वो person नहीं है, इसलिए मैं उसको कोई name नहीं दूंगी. Bertie's mother was always wonderful, patient with the lion. No matter how much mess he made, how many cushions he plows on dry part, no matter how much crockery he smashed, none of it seemed to be upset her. चाहे मैं कितनी क्रॉकरी तोड़ता था, कितने पिलो कवर खराब करता, उससे कोई फर्क नहीं पड़ता था. And strangely, she was hardly ever ill these days. They were a spring to her step, and her laughter filled around the house. His father was less happy about it. Lions, he muttered, should not live in house. You should keep him outside the compound. तो उसका फादर जब वो बहुत बीमार होती तो कहता है कि लॉयंस को घर में रखना चाहिए, इन्हें आप घर से बाहर. But they never did. For both mother and son, the lion had brought new life to their days, life and laughter. लेकिन दोनों, मदर के लिए भी और सन के लिए भी, वो lion क्या लेके आया? New life, ठीक है, and laughter. Days follow night. Happiness was short-lived, for a white lion grew, and the house and its surrounding become too small for him. वो बड़ा हो गया और वो house उसके लिए बहुत ही ज़्यादा छोटा पड़ गया. Bertie's mother called Bertie and explained to him, if he loved him, then he should be set free to live in the forest, to hunt in the forest, live with other lions. So next week, a teary-eyed Bertie hugged the lion and said it goodbye. Bertie's father took the lion deep into the forest and let him free. वो कहता है कि वो उसको हाथ करता है और कहता है कि कहते हैं अब तुम जाके फॉरेस्ट में रहो, और उसके फादर उसको ले जाते हैं. ठीक है, लॉयन को डीप इनटू द फॉरेस्ट एंड लेट हिम फ्री, उसको फ्री छोड़ देते. ठीक है. The chapter was very interesting. Hope you understood the chapter. That's all for today. Thank you.